In the middle of last century, an average of 1,000 men a year were losing their lives underground in mining accidents. Churchyards across the northeast are littered with their graves. At Ursden in North Tyneside, the bodies of 204 men and boys are buried in a mass grave. They suffered an agonizing death in 1862, entombed when a beam engine collapsed at the New Hartley Colliery, filling the shaft with tons of rubble. During the century and a half when coal was king, the region enjoyed a new prosperity, one from deep underground in hundreds of pits, but there was a terrible cost. It seems every pit village had its share of disasters. They were woven into the social fabric, the memories underpinning community pride, providing a focus and a sense of identity, of tradition and belonging. But 2 years before the New Hartley tragedy, and just 2 miles away, there was another pit disaster that's been all but forgotten. Burradon was one of the first deep pits to be sunk, and was the pride of the Northumberland coalfield. Today there's little remaining above ground to show there was ever a mine here. But 100 years ago, this was the site of a thriving village. The winning of coal and the dangers of working underground bound the community closely together. Now that the mine has gone, the community pride seems to have gone with it.
The village just seemed to go into a state of decay. I mean, the repairs were just left, which we're still actually having trouble to date, getting repairs done. There's all boarded up houses and shops, and nobody seems to want to do anything about it. There's bits of derelict land all over the place that up for sale and nobody's buying, and it just seems as if it's going to wreck and ruin,
On March the 2nd, 1860, an underground gas explosion killed 76 men and boys at the Burradon pit. But the only memorial to them is this tattered and yellowing piece of paper hanging in the Working Men's Club. Ralph Wilson is himself a former miner. Many of the names listed here are from families his grandfather knew.
Living in a colliery village, that was you followed in your father's footsteps. That was the main occupation at the time, and it was just a way of life that you followed your father into the pit. You didn't give much thought to any other selection of jobs. That was a job you were going to fall into.
Now Ralph's backing a campaign to erect a more fitting memorial to the Burradon pit disaster, in the hope of restoring some pride in the community.
But I would love to see a garden of remembrance opposite the social club in a derelict area, get that place tidied up and get this granite memorial located in that piece of land where it's been derelict for 40 years, and we've been trying to get it cultivated or get it tidied up for about that long, and this would kill two birds with one stone, and it would identify a very important part of the village, get this memorial located and identified.
It's not surprising that the colliery's closure in 1975 sent Burradon into a decline. 20 years later, some residents feel it's time to move on. But many feel the key to the future lies with recognising Burradon's past.
Why? Because I love the village. I love the sense of community, and that's what we're trying to preserve. We're trying to resurrect it, and hopefully people will actually watch this programme and come along to the local forums and actually put their point of view, because this is a crusade to save the village. Because over the last sort of 20 years since the mine closed, it has lost its purpose, and we're just sort of a small village, sort of the back of North Tyneside, which people tend to have forgotten about.
The Burradon campaigners want to put the former pit village back on the map. There are still many in the community today who remember the time when they were proud to say where they were from. They're hoping that the remembrance of those who lost their lives deep underground 138 years ago may yet provide the seed for their community's rebirth.